To add or subtract fractions, you need a what? What were we finding in the warm-up? Common denominator. Meaning your bottom numbers have to be the same thing. So common denominator sounds kind of fancy. It just means bottom numbers, samesies. You must blank to find the lowest common denominator. So we have to multiply in order to get the lowest common denominator sometimes. Other times we don't have to do a darn thing because it's already a common denominator, right? So it just depends on what situation you encounter. So sometimes the answer is you do nothing because they're already the same. Sometimes the answer is you have to multiply by something in order to get them to be the same. Okay, so let's look at number one. Number one is one of those moments where it's all like perfect and rainbows and unicorns and 75 degrees and sunny. Do you see why?
They're the common denominator.
The common denominator. So this one already has one. Think about the warm-up for a second. What happened with our common denominator? Did we add them together?
Yes.
No. It just carried through, right? So this is just going to carry through in the same way that it did in our warm-up. So that x plus 4 just comes along for the ride. But the top, we actually add those things.
Okay.
So I've got x minus 3 plus x minus 2. Do I have some like terms that I can combine?
Yes.
Yeah, so let's do that. So one more step to this one because we're going to combine our like terms. So look at your x's. If I have one x and I have one more x, how many x's do I have?
Yeah, 2.
2 x's. Minus 3 minus 2 more gives me minus what?
1.
So if somebody borrows $3 and then they come back and they're like, oh, I need 2 more. Yeah, they borrowed 5 from you total.
They get the money.
So this would be our answer. And then we have to think like we did last week. You have to think like, is there anything I could pull out and cancel? But with this one, there's not. So there's no way to factor. There's no way to cancel anymore. So this is our final answer. So again, this one already had common denominators. So you could even put like a big smiley face next to this one. Like this one was all good news because we already had a common, I'll put CD for common denominator. So everything was good news here. Common denominator, check. Look at the other ones. Do either of those have a common denominator for you? Thank you.
No.
Okay, so those we're going to have to deal with separately. Okay, so do we feel okay with the first one? Yeah. Let's come to the second one. So the first thing I'm going to do before I do anything else is I'm going to factor this thing.
Oh yeah, I love factoring.
And my hope, my dream, is that when I factor it, one of these parentheses will match this one. That's the dream.
That's the dream.
Okay. So let's factor. This is a trinomial. X times x is x squared.
Yeah.
We need 2 numbers that are going to multiply to -4, but add or subtract to 3. So let's pause for a minute. What multiplies to 4?
1 and 4.
1 and 4, and also 2 and 2. Okay. So those are our options. Of these options, which ones could add or subtract to 3?
1 and 4.
1 and 4. So I'm going to go with 1 and 4. All right, so if I need this to be a positive 3, I'm going to go positive 4, and I'm going to go minus 1. So 4 take away 1, that gets me to that middle term of 3. And 4 times -1 gets me to this thing. Now, what I've been calling it in Algebra 2, because like I said, we're just a day or two ahead in there. What I've been calling it in Algebra 2 is that you can cheat off of the other fraction. Do you see how there's an x plus 4 here?
Yeah.
I'm not going to be that mean that there's nothing in common. So one of these parentheses is gonna have an x plus 4. Does that make sense? So that way you can kind of like narrow it down. All right, I'm gonna scribble this out so I don't look at it. Okay, this is my new denominator. This is this denominator. Are my denominators the same? No.
No.
They have something in common though, right? Do they both have x plus 4s?
Yes.
Okay. What does this one need to boost it up so it's at the same level this one is?
So then it needs the x minus 1.
Yeah, it needs that whole x minus 1 because then it can be twinsies with the other fraction.
Hey, oh my god, now they're the same.
Now they're the same. Okay, so I'm going to do this in more steps than I normally would just to make sure we see each thing that's happening. So in the top of this fraction, I still have x minus 3.
Yes.
In the bottom, I have x minus 1 and I have x plus 4. So that fraction's going to stay put for right now. The second fraction, do you see how these are flipped? I'm just going to flip them back to make them look the same. I'm just going to put the x minus 1 first because then they look identical again. Right? And we can flip the order because 2 times 3 is 6, 3 times 2 is 6. Are we okay with this so far?
Should be.
Yes?
Hopefully.
Hopefully. Okay. This top part we need to multiply, like actually multiply, like we did in the warm-up. Do you see how there are two terms? Like we need to actually distribute that in.
It should be
2 times x is what?
3x?
Uh, 2x
Squared.
squared. 2x times negative 1, negative 2x. All right. Now, we have the same denominator.
Yes.
Am I ready to add?
Should be.
Yes. So, the denominator is x minus 1 and x plus 4. In the top, I'm going to actually add these things. X minus 3 plus 2x squared minus 2x.
That's a lot of work.
This is a lot of work. All right, so in the bottom, I still have the same thing. So that's at least the nice part, is that in the bottom, you just keep rewriting it. Like there's no math I need to do. I know I'm getting the bottom part right because I'm just rewriting it. So that's the good news. At least part of it we know is good. All right, is there any like term in the top that I can add to 2x squared?
No.
No.
Seven. Okay.
Is there any like term that I can combine with x?
Yes, the negative 2x.
So 1x, take away 2 x's, leaves me with a negative x. Does negative 3 have a buddy?
No.
No. So I'm going to leave it like that.
It should be your final answer.
And then this is going to be my final answer. I'm never going to give you ones that are going to reduce more at this point, so you don't need to go any further. So we're going to stop here. Or if they reduce, I'm not going to have you reduce.
Yeah.
Okay, because we've already done plenty of work and we had a separate unit on reducing, so we're just going to add and move on. All right, the next one's like that too.
Six.
Do you see how there's no common denominator?
Yeah, not a.
No common denominator. So we need to factor. Remember doing difference of squares?
A little bit, yes.
Okay, let's factor this denominator. We're going to factor into 2 parentheses. So I'm going to use my cheat, and I know that all the problems are going to have at least one match.
At least one, yeah. Probably the x plus 2, which is.
Yeah. What's going to be my other one? So if it's a difference of squares, do you remember what goes in the second one? It should be the same thing except one change.
Oh, x minus 2.
X minus 2. So I'm going to scribble this out. This is my new denominator. All right, what does this denominator need so that it can be the same as this one?
X minus 2.
X minus 2. So I'm gonna multiply, this one has an x plus 2, I'm gonna give it an x minus 2 as well, to the top and the bottom, just like we did in the warm-up, right? It has to go to top and bottom.
Yes.
Okay, here we go. We still have two fractions.
Yes.
They're still being added. The second one is the one that stays the same this time. So I'm gonna leave that one all alone, right? Because it didn't need to get multiplied by anything, so this one just carries through. It's the same darn thing. This one, I'm going to rewrite my denominator. I'm going to put them in the same order so it truly looks identical. So I'm going to go with the x plus 2 first and the x minus 2 second. So that way they look like you can tell, yep, those are perfectly identical. All right, let's multiply the top. X times x is what?
X squared.
X times negative 2.
Negative 2x.
Negative 2x. All right, let's add everything in the top together. So in the bottom, we have x plus 2, x minus 2. So again, the bottom's nice because we know, just keep carrying it on through. In the top, let's add all our things. X squared minus 2x minus 8. Can I... Oh, before I box it in, I'm kind of giving it away that I'm about to box it in. Are there any like terms that I can add or subtract?
No.
No. All right, so we're gonna box it in and call it a day. So again, I don't want you to also reduce. I will tell you a secret, this one does reduce. Like you could factor and simplify it more, but let's just focus on the adding today, right? One thing at a time. Let's just add and not simplify.
Second.
Is that good?
Yeah.
Okay, are we ready to try some problems?
Sure.
Sure, maybe. Okay.